Stefon Diggs, Cardi B, love of her life, her baby father, got arrested, charged with strangulation. Hold up. Let's see what's popping here. Come on, Stefon Diggs. What you doing out there? You know right now, you in the hot seat. Everything you do got the big eye. What's going on, man? Let's check this out. Hit that like button, that subscribe button, man.
On WBZ, New England Patriots star Stefon Diggs is facing serious criminal charges. We have just obtained paperwork from Dedham District Court indicating that the wide receiver is charged with felony strangulation or suffocation and misdemeanor assault and battery. This is stemming from an incident back on December 2nd. Diggs is scheduled to be arraigned on the charges in Dedham on January 23rd. That is just 2 days before the AFC Championship game. The wide receivers attorneys were in court this morning for a hearing, and we are working to learn more about the incident that led to these charges. We did reach out to the Patriots for a statement. We have that for you here. It says the New England Patriots are aware of the accusations that have been made regarding Stefon Diggs. Stefon has informed the organization that he categorically denies the allegations. We support Stefon. We will continue to gather information and will cooperate fully with the appropriate authorities and the NFL as necessary. Out of respect for all of the parties involved, and given that this is an ongoing legal matter, we will have no further comment at this time. We want to bring in Dan Roach now to talk about this with us and the impact, Roachy, that this could have for the team, for the playoffs. We've been on such a roll. How does Coach Vrabel make sure that this doesn't become a distraction for them?
Well, Brianna, I think it's very early in the fact-finding part of this as far as just what happened, how it happened, when it happened, who was involved, and everything else, which we haven't seen or heard yet. So I think that's the first part of it. And then the second part to me is that he categorically denies it when it comes to what happened. So we're going to have to find out the story. Beyond that, I can tell you that as a veteran, a wide receiver, a number one wide receiver coming in, there were questions about Steph Diggs and, how would he behave? How would he handle it? A lot of the number one wide receivers could be divas, if you call it, at times. And he has been nothing but a role model, a perfect citizen in that clubhouse or locker room for this New England Patriots team, so much so that he's emerged as a leader. The players look up to him. I think the coaching staff certainly respects him. And everything that he's done in a Patriots uniform has been good for the team. In fact, just the other day, post-game, after their win over the Jets down in New Jersey, he was speaking in the locker room talking about being 30 yards away from being a 1,000-yard wide receiver, I think for the seventh time in his career. And he had knee surgery last year and came back. And I think it meant a lot to him. He was almost, to me, kind of emotional, almost in tears, saying he just wants to win, that these milestones don't mean as much to him anymore in his career. At this point of his career, he just wants to win, loves this team, and wants to be a part of them trying to win a Super Bowl. So, like I said,
Hey, listen. I want people to understand this, right? When you are encountering so many different people, you definitely got to be mindful because things come your way. I don't know if he did it or if he didn't do it. But understanding that you got to be so careful dealing with people, especially when you in the light, because people make it their business to try to disrupt your life and screw your life up. And then at the same time, people that are in position and they financially stable, they think that they can do whatever they want and they don't suffer consequences because they're usually able to talk people out of doing certain things. So it could be either way. We don't know what happened. I hope that he didn't strangle anybody. I hope that it's a lie. But putting yourself in this situation, though, and guess what? It comes from dealing with people. This is what everybody should understand in life. The situations that you get into are from encounters with other people. When you minimize your interactions with people, you usually have a better result in staying out of the way. But when you that type of person that you always want to be involved with people, you want to go to the parties, you want to be around this person, you got to worry about now what's going to happen. You know, a lot of people be jealous though, too. And then, you know, you got some of these people that feel like they untouchable. So it could be either way, you know, in this situation. And, you know, the facts going to come out eventually what it is, who it was, how it happened. The big eye on it now. The NFL being looked at for the situation, all that. So, you know, the NFL is saying right now that they standing behind them. If something come out directly from somebody, you know what they're going to do. We got to cut ties with you right now. Because no matter what, they don't want the organization to look bad. They want to keep the organization in a good light. They don't want nobody looking at them like that because now it's connected with the NFL. This who you work for. So, you know, interactions with people is important, man. It's very, very important. You know, they want to party like a rock star. They want to deal with multiple people around this person, that person. And then the next thing you know, you in a situation. Yeah, that energy. Man, energy is real. You can be around certain people that got bad energy and they bring the energy on you. You know, people can, you know, definitely provoke you to do certain things that you should avoid. So it's like, it could be either way, man. But I really think that people got to pay attention to making sure that they watch who they're around. Because the people you're around are the ones that's going to be the ones that you have a problem with. You can't have a problem with somebody that you never around. You can't get an accusation of doing anything to somebody that you're not around. It's always going to be the people that you surround yourself around. Straight up. And I noticed and understand, the less people you be around and you interact with, the less problems you have. The more people you interact with and be around, the more problems you have. Straight up. And that's just a fact. You know, if you understand that, you'll stay out the way. If you don't, you'll continue to have more problems.
It's again, nothing surprises me, you know, in sports anymore. But I think for everything that we've seen and have been with the guy from day one here in that Patriots locker room, he's been nothing but a role model citizen. So we shall see how it unfolds. But from my perspective, he's been everything you want as a teammate, as a leader, as a New England Patriot so far.
Yeah, Rochi, certainly a lot of positive things ahead of him. He's a dad, has a new baby with Cardi B. But again, here, the breaking news, he is going to be arraigned 2 days before the AFC Championship. So we will see what happens. We will stay on top of it. Rochi, thank you for your insight, as always, here.
And of course, the charges themselves may seem self-explanatory to lay people, but there's always a lot to it. We want to enter in WBZ legal analyst Jennifer Roman here to help us make sense of all of this. Jennifer, first things first, we have a felony charge and a misdemeanor charge. Can you explain each one or both?
Sure. So the felony charge would carry with it a much more serious sentence than the misdemeanor charge, and it would include the potential for imprisonment in the state prison versus just the regular jail. So the nature of the charges make them very different. We don't know if it's a strangulation or a suffocation at this point. We don't really know what the facts are supporting these allegations, but that is definitely the more serious charge of the two. The assault and battery would carry a sentence up to 2.5 years in the House of Correction as a misdemeanor if convicted. Whether or not somebody gets if convicted, whether or not somebody actually receives the type of sentence they receive depends on the nature of the crime, whether or not they accept responsibility in any way, show remorse, but also whether or not there's a prior criminal history here that would support a harsher sentence. So as this all sort of still is unfolding, we really don't know a whole lot. We'll know more at the arraignment later in January. That should provide some more details about what the allegations are and would shed some light on what potential sentence could look like if he's actually convicted.
Okay, so you mentioned that arraignment. That's January 23rd. There was this motion hearing today. Can you explain briefly, lay terms, what a motion hearing is?
Sure. It's just a way to ask the court to do something that you want. So in this case, the defense is making a formal request that the file be impounded, which would keep it out of the public purview, would keep it away from the press.
Hey, listen, man, I really don't agree with that. You know, you're a public figure. Why keep the file out the press? Everybody don't get that opportunity. You know, when they put people in the news, they put everything in there and everything that's going on, even if it's not true. He shouldn't be able to get that. You know, it should be out there like everybody else. You know, that I don't like that favoritism stuff, you know, because it be some things that they put on people that be false allegations and they just put this stuff out there. So everybody should get the same treatment. It shouldn't be because you got more money than other people that you can keep yourself, you know, your information under wraps. Nah, it all should come out like anybody else, man. That's public information, you know. But I mean, they pick and choose. And, you know, maybe the NFL is probably going to be able to get it kept under wraps. But if the judge is being fair, it should be out there like every other situation.
Those types of motions, when you're talking about somebody who has the kind of star power that Stefon Diggs has, are not usually granted because we do have public interest in these very public figures. So much of their life is already public. There's not really this heavy privacy interest here. So I would be surprised if the judge allowed the defense motion to impound this file and keep it out of the public purview, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, interesting. A lot of stuff there. All right, Jennifer, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, so, you know, I really feel like it should be public information, just like anybody else. You know, he shouldn't get no special treatment at all. You know what I mean? Because they definitely do that for certain individuals, you know, that they want to. But then, you know, some people might not get the treatment, then some people might. It's like they pick and choose, man. I want y'all to leave a comment down below and let me know, how do you feel about this situation? Do you feel like he's being targeted? Do you feel like somebody around him is purposely putting these allegations on him? Do you feel like he did it? You know, do you see anything within the stuff you see from him as him being this type of individual that's gonna strangle somebody? Does he bring that kind of energy to the light? So he had that kind of aura, like he's gonna strangle something. But it's definitely a crazy accusation around this time. You know, yeah. You see a lot of people mess their careers up because of others. And you have to be mindful. Dealing with others will destroy a lot of things. And you don't see it till it happens. You know, you sitting in that, you know, that dark space, upset because of the situation. And if you would have said, man, let me stay away from everybody right now, it's the season, let me focus, you know. But when you in position in life, you know, no matter if it's on a big scale or if it's on an all right scale, you feel like you got it all figured out. And sometimes you got a bad choice of judgment in the people that you interact with, and it'll come back and bite you. You know, it's happened to a lot of people. You know, it's happened to myself, you know, but understanding that, you know, no matter what you go through, you will bounce back. I mean, so that's one thing people do got to understand. You know, they feel like they get in a situation and sometimes they make the situation worse because they feel like this is the bad time that it happened and I can't get through it. But you'll bounce back from anything. Whatever you're going through, you'll bounce back. It just might take some time. And people do got to understand that straight up. You know, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share this live, man. I appreciate all of y'all. Facts.